Okay, this is, well, let me find it. We may have already done this part, but we are working on multiply rational numbers. And that just means we're adding decimals and fractions. And we are supposed to assume by now that you know how to multiply rational numbers, which are multiplication of decimals and fractions. So on our online book, there is some videos that you can watch that does some examples of this. But what you can see is that they used multiplication, 3.5 times negative 1.2. And so what they did, what I'm trying to understand is why they have this extra 0.6 here. But 3.5, there's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. Oh, I see why. Took me a second. But this 0.5, that is 1/2 of the, so this is 3.5 groups of negative 1.2. So there's 1 full group, 2 full groups, 3 full groups, and then a half a group. Okay, so this is basically just teaching you how to multiply decimals. But we're still using the same rule of a positive times a negative equals a negative. So we're going to try it because that's based upon, real life situation. Megan's bank account is charged $9.95. So that's charged means it's negative per month for an online newspaper subscription. How could you represent the change in her account balance after 3 months of charges? So 3 groups of $9.95. Negative $9.95. So 3 times negative $9.95. And I'm going to have to go off to the side because, I'm not very good at, I need my space. So 5, 27. So assuming I did that right, I'm trying to double check. Okay, so this shouldn't be that. It should be 29.85. Let me do that math again. Yep, that's right. So negative 29.85. Now the key problem will be if you remember to put the negative back in, because there's the negative there. After 3 months, the change in her account balance is negative 29.95. And you will need to make sure that you put the negative in front of it because that is the change. The change, you have to put the negative to say that the account balance it decreased. Okay? All right, if you need to pause, feel free. If you don't, we're going to keep moving. Example 2, well, they just threw in some fractions, okay? So if you know how to multiply fractions, which, look, you just multiply across the top and across the bottom, and then you reduce, you still keep that same positive times a negative equals a negative, or a negative times a positive equals a negative. So if they're different, then they're going to be negative. Then we have another example done the same way. They converted their decimal to a fraction. In this case, that's because it's easier. Sometimes fractions is what you have to do. So Anyway, we're going to go down here. We're going to do some try-its. So negative 5.3 times negative 2.6. I'm going to make myself a note at the end. It's going to be positive. I'm going to do this in black so that we can see it. So 5.3 times 2.6, I get 31.8. Then I have a placeholder. 3 times 2 is 6. 5 times 2 is 10. I'm going to add. We get 8, 7, 3, 1. And as you see, let me see if I can change the color. There's 1 decimal place movement, 2 decimal place movements. So I got to put my final decimal place there. So my answer is positive 13.78. I will tell you that in a computer, they won't want that positive. But that is to help me remember what I'm doing. And then I have an eraser. I just erase it. Okay, number B, I'm going to go ahead and change my color so that you guys can follow along. That's a negative times a positive, so my final answer will be a negative answer. I'm going to put a box so that I can keep track of it. Negative 3/5 times 4 1/6. Now, if you're a student that can't do the conversion that's necessary, I can't multiply that like it is. I have to make it an improper fraction. So that takes this work. Let me go and get red. That means 4 1/6. I have to do this. 4 times 6 is 24 plus the 1. So that will be 25/6. And I'll plug that back into the other side. So 25/6, and it's positive. So then I multiply across the top. I get 75. 5 times 6 is 30, and it's negative. I can't leave it like that because I have to reduce it. So the way that I do that is I keep adding 30 until I get no more. So 30 plus 30 is 60. I can't do another 30, but I can do another 15 all over 30. Now the reason why I did that is because, let's see, if I have 30 over 30, see, well, that's a terrible grade. If I have 30 over 30, that makes 1. So that first 30 over 30 is 1. That second 30 over 30 is 2. And then I still have the 15 over 30 left, okay? I know that sounds very complicated, but it's me just basically trading in for the correct things, or simplifying. It's however you all would like to do it. You can do it with division. This is a strategy that I use. So this means I have 2 and 15/30. I need to go to blue. So I know I have 2 and 15/30. Now, 15/30 could also be reduced. So your final answer should be negative 2 1/2. Those simplifying fractions is definitely a skill that you need to maintain because you'll be doing it as long as you're in math class. All right. Now we have another decimal. Since they're both decimals, I just get to multiply them. Why is it that I'm happy to see that? Okay, so my final answer will be over here. And because it's a positive times a negative, that means it's going to have a negative answer. So 1.78 times 0.2, 8 times 2 is 16. Carry the 1, that becomes 15. Carry the 1 again, 456. Okay, hold my place value, do my zeros, because 0 times 8, 0 times 7, 0 times 1, 6, 5, 4, 0. Now, how many decimal places do I have to move? 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3. My final answer then should be 0.456. Something seems off. Okay, I see what it is. Look, it's right there. I did 2 times 1 plus 1 was 4. So let's see if I can erase that and change that to what it should be. It should be 3. 3, 5, 6. I don't know if I can get that in there. So 3, 5. Oh, forget it. We'll erase it. There we go. 3, 5, 6. All right. All right, this next one, brown, I guess. Final answer will be located here. And it's a negative times a negative, so my answer will be positive. 2.5, well, I noticed that this fraction is a 10. Well, we do things in tens place. So I think I want to do fraction or decimals. I want to do 2.5 times 7/10. 7/10 is written as a decimal is 0.7. So I'm just going to multiply that here. So 5/35, that's 14, 7, 1. It's got 1 decimal place, so I move this over 1 decimal place. My answer will be 17.5, and it's positive. And I thought about that at the beginning, so I'm erasing the positive at the end. Okay, we've done the try it. We've understand all these skills. I know that if I'm not good at fractions or if I'm struggling with fractions, I still need more practice. So we are going to go to the do you understand and the do you know how. How is multiplying rational numbers like multiplying integers? Well, this boils down to, my words are going to be, they are the same. If you multiply...
Good afternoon, River Valley. No, it is not dismissal. I just neglected some
I don't know how to pause this, so I can't. You're going to have to hear the announcements.
Would like to announce
but you can watch what I'm doing. If you multiply
last night. Boys soccer won 2-1 over Silver Creek. Boys will play Wednesday
positive
at Highland
or
Hills.
two
Also, from
negative
our
numbers,
coach, Mr. Rogers,
they
I have
are
to read these because they're epic.
positive.
River Valley packed up their cargo and sailed the treacherous waters to an unknown area.
I'm going to erase this.
In a town the locals call Charlestown. We were immediately surrounded by 30 pirates ready to battle. It took a while to find the treasure, but River Valley eventually overpowered the pirates and threw them overboard
multiply
before heading back home with
a negative
and 3-2 victory.
times a positive,
we are back in action on Tuesday
equals a negative.
to defeat Clarksville also. So, tennis team, soccer team. Sorry I missed that this morning. Wanted to go back and pick that up. Thank you, everyone.
This one, if you multiply a decimal greater than 0 and a fraction less than 0, change one of them to match the other. And I guarantee you that's not the book's words, these are mine. So you need a fraction with fraction or decimal with decimal. Okay. How does this number line represent multiplication of a negative number by a positive number? Well, let's see here. Let's go with blue. So this means this is a negative number by a positive number. So I can see there's one group, two groups, three groups, and then a half a group. Because there are three groups of the same fraction. The last one, whoa, I must have did something. The last group is only half. Okay, we're going to have to continue. So we're going to use the number line to find the product 3 times negative 1.5. Number line is my favorite. You guys know that. So with that being said, we're going to make 3 groups of negative 1.5 with a number line. We know I love that. So the first group is a negative 1.5. It goes to here. Second one is negative 1 1/2. And then another of negative 1 1/2. So there's 3 groups there. And that's how I would draw it out anyways. That's how I've seen the book draw it out, so that works for me. 3 groups. The answer would be 4 1/2 negative. Okay, which of these products is positive? Okay, so that's easy. I just get to look to see the ones that are double. Well, this one's a negative and a negative, so it's positive. That's a negative and a positive. Okay. This is a positive, negative. This is a negative. Oh. Negative times 0 is still negative. Negative times negative 1, that's a negative times a negative, so that is. All right. This one was a negative times a positive, so it's not. So there's those answers. Okay, these down here, find the product. This would just be basic multiplication, and it will be a correct answer, or positive answer. Put my answer right there at the end. 3.1 times 2.9, 9, 2, 27, 28, 27, 28, 29. And then 2 times 1 is 2, 6, 9, 1, 1, 9. So 91.9, and it's positive. Okay. I need another color because I'm out of room. Okay, 1.5, I'm going to change that to 3 halves times 5 thirds, and that's a negative, so my final answer will be negative. So that'll be 15 over 6. Okay, so 15 over 6 reduced would be 6 plus 6 plus, that's 12, 3. So this makes a 1, that makes a 1, so I have 2. And then I have 3 6 left, so my final answer is 2 1/2 negative. Okay, 3.5, oh boy. This is definitely a lot of practice. The final answer will be negative, so it's 3.5 times 1/2. So I'm going to do 3.5 times 5. So I get 25, 17. I have 1 decimal place, so it's 17.5, and it's negative. All right, next one. Answer will go here. It's a negative times a negative, so it's a positive answer. So 4/5 times negative 1/8 equals 4 over 40. If I simplify, divide the top by 4, divide the bottom by 4, I will get 1 over 10. So 1/10 positive. Hallelujah. We are done. Hopefully it will stop. Okay, I don't know why it's not stopping, but it should be.